Okay, so this is a very different topic than most of my video issues of breakthrough marketing secrets because normally I talk about marketing and selling and copywriting and business building and more. But the reality is, like, contrary to what some people would want you to believe, marketers and salespeople and entrepreneurs are human beings too. And so, as human beings, we deal with a lot of stress and anxiety. And actually, as people who are looking to stretch ourselves, to like go to our edge and go beyond our edge, to achieve new things, to create new things in the world, to go out and try to create a better life for ourselves and for those around us, we face a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. Uh, More than somebody who's just caught up in or comfortable in their, peaceful, don't rock the boat mentality and existence. So as marketers, as entrepreneurs, we are often rocking the boat. We're often doing things that make us uncomfortable. And it can be incredibly powerful to have techniques, reliable practices to release stress, release anxiety. And, specific to the type of people who are my most common subscribers, this can mean, when you're getting on the phone for an important client phone call, when you have just dealt with negative feedback regarding your copy, your marketing that you've sent off to a client and you've gotten the feedback back, when you've just tested a marketing campaign and you realize it's not working, when you feel overwhelmed with the size of a campaign that you've just committed to, either for your own business or for a client business, and you really need to be able to focus on work, but you can't because you feel a little bit of overwhelm. The specific, or maybe it's just that you've had a really high intensity day and you've been doing a lot of things. And before you come back to your family, before you step out of your workplace, you need to just have a minute to release the stress and anxiety of work and to be able to ground yourself and come back to center before you go and be with your family or go and be with your friends. Or maybe it's that getting your kids off to school in the morning was particularly stressful this morning, and you need to take a minute to reset so that you can focus on work. So no matter what it is, like, we're constantly, as human beings, and probably more so than ever before because of our, like, how many inputs we have as humans, we're constantly dealing with stress and anxiety. And without getting into like deeper stuff that, maybe it's more appropriate to have a therapist to actually help you with, I did want to give you a really simple practice that in like less than 5 minutes, you can very easily just release stress and anxiety in your body. Now, you might think that stress and anxiety are a mental phenomenon. They're in your head. They're related to your thoughts. And oftentimes we have stressful thoughts and we have anxious thoughts, but what's going on at a physiological level, like the actual feelings and sensations that we're having, are what our brain is reacting to with those stress and anxiety thoughts. So your body is doing something. Your heart's beating faster. Your chest feels tight. You're having trouble breathing well. And those are like symptoms of a panic attack if they get intense enough. But even if they're not that intense, even if they're not at that level, the way that our mind reacts to those sensations, those physiological happenings, those events that are happening, is our brain interprets that as stress, as anxiety. And so rather than giving you like a thought to release stress and anxiety, I'm going to point you towards a practice that actually has its roots in wisdom traditions, in meditative traditions from all around the world that has arisen in multiple different cultures throughout time independently, and that consistently is like even people who are able to deal with great adversity and not let it overcome them, they continuously rely on very similar practices and have found these practices to be like their way of dealing with overwhelming stress, overwhelming anxiety, whatever the source. And the secret, the secret, right? Is you need to learn to control your breath. And a very, very easy practice. I actually heard this particular stat the other day that research found that 6 deep breaths is all it takes to reset your body's physiological state. 6 deep breaths. And when you get to the point where your reaction to stress and anxiety is to take 6 deep breaths, then it becomes much easier for you to face whatever situation is going to stimulate that stress and anxiety to come out of you. And so I want to talk to you, like I've been focusing personally, like I've been meditating for over 1,000 days straight now. It's at about 1,130 something. I keep track of it in a timer app, but specifically using breathwork as a core practice of my meditation is something I've been focusing on more and more recently. And I find it much easier to stay really centered and grounded in my body and really comfortable in my body. And the stress and anxiety really does not get to me in the same way. And it clears your mind too, because if your mind is always reacting to these sensations in your body, then it's harder for you to think clearly about things, versus if you are able to calm the sensations in your body, if you're able to release the stress and anxiety, your mind becomes clear to focus on what you want to focus on. So what is a deep breath? Well, a deep breath, you can probably, so my suggestion for you, my practice for you is that anytime you are needing to release stress and anxiety, take 6 deep breaths in a row. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it will go a long ways to resetting your physiology, to releasing the stress and anxiety sensations that are coming up in your body. And there is the possibility it could bring up some trauma. We actually hold trauma in different places in our body. And it doesn't have to be trauma with a capital T, like some terrible thing that happened to you. It could be trauma with a small t, like accumulated stress that you could be holding somewhere in your body. And there is the chance that this could bring up some really difficult sensations that you may need additional help dealing with. But for everyday stress and anxiety, really learning to breathe into the stress, to breathe into the anxiety, to breathe into those sensations that your mind is interpreting, it will go a very long way towards helping you release those. And so what is a deep breath? If you, it's best to learn this laying down, because your body is as relaxed as it can be if you just lay down on your back, and you can put your hands on your stomach. I do this sitting up, standing up. I do this in lots of different ways. But if you really want to learn this process and you want to learn to breathe in a way that is most powerful in helping you release stress and anxiety, doing this on your back will be helpful because you get the most direct feedback about this. So the way that most of us breathe most of the time, the way that we learn to breathe when we're young is when we breathe in, our chest expands really big. And when we breathe out, our chest collapses, our chest goes back in. And you can't see that as well on this video, but when I breathe in and my chest expands, my stomach goes in. And when my chest collapses, my stomach goes out. And it actually creates this really bad posture. And it's uncomfortable for me to do it that way. But a good deep breath, actually your chest barely moves. You breathe in down to your stomach. And so if you're laying down, or even if you're sitting up, you put your hands on your stomach, on your abdomen, and you breathe in, and your chest does not really puff out. Your chest doesn't come out much at all, but your lungs displace your insides, right? And kind of push them down. And you're going to feel your stomach filling up. And even better, if like you can imagine, you can enlist your imagination in helping you with this. You imagine positive breath energy, life energy going throughout your entire body. Because really when you are breathing, you are giving your body oxygen that it puts into your blood and that it circulates throughout your entire body. So when you breathe in, your stomach gets bigger, your stomach goes out, and the energy, the oxygen from your breath does circulate throughout your entire body. And if you are feeling stress in a particular area, it might be worth paying attention to that and breathing into that and noticing just those physical sensations. And then you breathe out, your stomach goes in, and you can feel the energy coming out. You can feel the stress and anxiety coming out, and use your imagination. Like you can pretend this is real and then pretend you're not pretending anymore. You can imagine this is real and then imagine that you're not imagining anymore. With a hat tip to Mike Mandel, the hypnosis instructor and hypnotist who talks about that. You enlist your imagination, you enlist your conscious and unconscious, subconscious mind to imagine the stress and anxiety coming out. So let's say you feel a tight chest, and I've certainly had days where I felt a tight chest because I was holding stress and anxiety in there. Take a deep breath, and I feel the breath go way down into my body, right? And like circulating all through my body. And then when I breathe out, I let it like pull the tightness, the whatever sensation I was feeling in my chest, pull out and like release it with the breath into the world, right? And do that 6 times and try to make sure that each breath is a deep breath. You breathe all the way in and then hold it for just a moment. Like it's not like holding your breath, but you let there be a pause between breathing all the way in and then breathing all the way out. And a slight pause, and then breathe all the way in. Slight pause, breathe all the way out. Slight pause. And you do that 6 times. And even a long breath, like a long breath cycle, maybe 30 seconds each. So really this is, it's less than 5 minutes. It may be less than 3. And this could be, again, when you're going on stage, you're about to start a webinar, you're sitting down to actually just write, you are dealing with a tough phone call that you have to make or are even on. You can do this like secretly. You can do this quietly when nobody notices. You can just take a deep breath, and you can even do it like when you're not feeling a lot of stress and anxiety, as a way to practice and a way to like just let your body continue releasing any small amount that you haven't even really noticed yet. And for me, like I'm trying to do this more and more throughout the day. Whenever I have a thought to do it, whenever I think about my breath, I come back and I take at least 1 or 2 deep breaths. It's even better if it's 6 or more. And I just take that deep breath and I like let it fill up my stomach, and then I release it. And I know this sounds simple, and I know this sounds like kind of ridiculous if you want some other like magic formula, but honestly, like magic formulas are often way less powerful than the really simple things that just work. And the really simple thing that just works for releasing stress and anxiety is taking a few deep breaths, like really just focusing on your breath and letting your breath like fill your body with good oxygen. Like our body needs oxygen to survive. If we lose oxygen, like we die, right? If our brain doesn't have enough oxygen, it doesn't think as well. There's all sorts of consequences to not having adequate oxygen in our body. And most of us breathe in terrible ways compared to like how we could breathe. And there's a lot more advanced breathwork practices that you could get into if you really wanted to go deep into this. Like, for example, Wim Hof has, and that's WIMHOF, has some really interesting approaches to using your breath to support a healthy immune system that's like starting to be really backed up by scientific research into just taking 30 like deep, fast breaths in a row and then holding your breath, which is his method. And the way that brings oxygen into your body has a really interesting effect on your biochemistry. And so there's all sorts of places that you go in terms of breath work. You can study ancient meditation traditions and how they have used breath work. You can study mindfulness and how it's just most often the most effective mindfulness practice is just bringing your attention back to the breath, or using the breath as a focus of attention, so that you can let thoughts come and go, so you can let sensations come and go. But even just this one practice, like really adopting and understanding this one practice of saying, okay, I have stress and anxiety that I'm holding on to right now, and I want to release this. Just breathing deeply 6 times in a row. Take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, 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 breathe in, breathe out. And notice how your physiology, how your feelings, how your sensations change. And I think that you will be positively surprised. And in fact, you might decide that you want to take 6 more breaths, or you might decide that you want to make this a regular practice. You might decide that this is something that you want to do every day when you wake up, or every night before you go to bed, whatever, like you decide, right? But I'll tell you that if you do this and you really commit to doing this and learning to adopt this as a way to respond to stress and anxiety, it will make you far more responsive, but less reactionary to whatever is contributing to the stress and anxiety. And it will make you really like more effective as a human being, more grounded as a human being. It will allow you to have greater control over both your internal sensation, your internal world, and the external world around you. It's pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. My name is Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Again, a very different video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, but I hope you've gotten a ton of value out of it. I would love to know, like, did you get a ton of value out of it? I've been doing this thing where I would love you to rate on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments below, like what kind of value you received, 1 to 10, and let me know why. Let me know if there was any big takeaways or action items or insights or perspectives that you have on this. Is this something that you're already doing? Is this something that you're going to start doing right now as soon as this video is over? Let me know in the comments below. Click that like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you in the future. Also, so the magical algorithms of the internet know to share it with people like you who will also get value. If there's somebody in your life, like I'm trying to teach this to my kids. I'm trying to share this far and wide. If there's somebody in your life who would get more value out of a simple practice to release stress and anxiety, you can share this video with them directly. And hey, if you are in marketing, copywriting, sales, entrepreneurship, business building, any of those related fields, I think you'd get a lot of value out of subscribing as well. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com to get my daily emails Monday through Friday, including these videos, content, additional training that I'm releasing as well that's only available through being an email subscriber. So again, that's breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. The links are in the description. Again, one last time, I'm Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I hope you've gotten a ton of value out of this, and I look forward to seeing you again in your next video issue. I will see you soon. Bye.